Welcome at GLH. We are here in our testing center where we demonstrate and show all of our machines for our customers, and today we are going to zoom in a certain specific model. Today I'm going to explain you a little bit more about our S-230DM models. We have three specific versions. We have over there the entry model, which is basically called our Eco, S-230DM Eco. It's a fully manual saw. Then the second version we call the S-230DM Hydro. Hydro, the name says it itself, it's already equipped with a hydraulic cylinder in the vise and also hydraulic downfeed. And then over here I'm going to zoom in into our top model, which is basically the most equipped S-230DM, and we call it the S-230DM TECNO. All the three models have a lot of things in common, but still a lot of differences. The differences are in the options, but the basic frame is exactly the same. They are both double miter saws with a capacity of, in the width, 320, in the height, maximum 230. What is also common in these models is the main motor. The main motor is a 1.8 kilowatt motor. The hydraulic unit in the Hydro and the TECNO are exactly the same. Of course, in the manual it's different because it sinks on its own weight with the help of a hydraulic cylinder. What is also the same is the bed. When you look on the bed, this bed turns with the saw bow. It's very important. There are no wear plates, so you don't need to change anything because always the saw is going to cut in the same way. Also the same is the form of the shuttle vise, of the vise. The vise is basically only used for clamping. The only difference between the manual version and the Hydro and the TECNO, the Hydro and the TECNO have a short stroke hydraulic cylinder, which is over here. This is the short stroke hydraulic cylinder. But all three of the saws have the same function of turning the wheel inside or outside to make the vise go up and down. To move the saw, it's pretty simple. You have here a lock nut that locks it on the bottom, and you can turn the saw basically to straight and lock it. So in this way it's locked and you cannot move it. All the three saws are foreseen with a short 500 millimeter long measurement stop. So basically already you can put series work inside, so you can cut the length that you desire with moving the measurement stop on the right spot for the material. Furthermore to know, the frame. The frame is a 15 millimeter thick plate, a welded construction with a rectangular tube of 120 millimeter by 80 millimeter. It's completely automated, completely welded on our automated robot welding system. The turning table is completely cast ironed and it's milled down in our workshop with our milling machines. Also, the bottom frame, it's very important to show you that the bottom frame has a higher edge to make sure that the coolant and the chips go inside the area where the chips are coming out. The chip collection box can be removed, so you can easily throw it away in a chip collection box, in a bigger one. And when we zoom in onto this part, this is also something that is very important. When you zoom in onto this part, every machine has a height limit switch. So with this limit switch, you can basically set the height. So the frame is not always going up to the upper level. Very important to know is also the setting of the angle, what I showed you with the movement of the frame left and right. But when we zoom in closer, you can see that the reading of the angle is done with a pointer. And very important service-wise also is that the angle reading is a fully engraved angle reading measurement tape. The shuttle vise, we can cut double miter 60 degrees. So when we move the saw frame to the minus, then you need to move this vise with this knob in this way. And it easily slides because it's supported with bearings on the lower side. So you can easily move it on the other side and then lock it again. Very important is also, of course, the change of the blade. So I'm going to show you a little bit the inside of the machine. When you look at the wheels are perfectly aligned when we assemble the machine. On the front side, on the other side of the machine, you can set the wheel if it's needed for maintenance. What is also very important is that we have carbide inserts, tungsten carbide inserts on both sides, which can also be regulated here, and also extra bearings to guide the blade and to reduce the vibrations in the blade. Also very important is the brush. The brush is settable, so the moment that it deteriorates during the time, you can always set the brush in a better position. The cover cannot fall down. It has here very easily something that holds the cover up. When you do it down, then you can close the cover again, and the cover is closed with 3 easy clickable systems, one on the bottom and one on the back. When you open up the cover, because of CE and protection and safety, of course there's a limit switch. The moment that the cover is open, you can never start the saw. Want to zoom in a little bit on a few limit switches that you see on the machine. And basically you see in this area, you see 3 limit switches. You see basically the height limit switch. It's also nicely labeled, of course, of a German manufacturer. You see the lower limit switch, which is also nicely labeled. You can find it back in the electrical diagram or even labeled back into the electrical cabinet. And this is the safety limit switch for the cover. So this makes sure, and you see also the difference in the color, this makes sure that the moment that the cover is loose or not attached well, that the blade cannot start running. Every sawing machine has normally a central cooling system. So we don't use a plastic tank or a plastic tube or a plastic cube or a plastic box even, which I've seen in my career. We use our own tank with a separate pump, no plastic. It's completely liquid tight, and also a filter that from time to time you need to change. But also it's very important, pumps are deteriorating through time and you need to be able to easily change it. So this pump, when you take away the chip collection box, is easy to reach and you can easily change it. We have a central lubrication system, so this is the main tube. The main tube goes into the machine and is basically one time on that side. On this side it's set, so it's split one time, so you can set the coolant here and there, which basically goes into the guiding cubes of the blade. And what is also very important, which I didn't show you yet, is of course we always recommend to be as close as possible with the guiding cube to the blade. So you can set this side with this handle closer to the material, as close as possible. This is an extra protection cover. This is basically also CE, something that is needed because it prescribes the CE and the safety and security rules. In the back of the saw, which I call the back of the saw, you see that we opened up the hydraulic cover to show you actually that the hydraulic unit, you can slide it easily out. This moment I didn't do it completely, but just to show you that it's possible. It's easy for maintenance when a valve or a coil is breaking down for one reason or the other. You can easily change it. So it's very easy to maintain because you can slide out the hydraulic box. It's a completely closed hydraulic system, and all our valves are our valves and designed for us, and they are all 24 volts. With the manometer you can see also what is the pressure in the system. You can raise it, you can lower it, but basically we recommend always to use the factory settings. We are going to zoom in a little bit on the electrical components. The box is secured with a key. You can always find the key inside. Basically, you always lock the box after installation. You give the key to the owner, because normally you should never go inside. We use European components, so all these components are from European companies. For the inverter, on the TECNO model, we use Innovance, and Innovance is a world player when it comes to PLCs and frequency inverters. When we zoom in a little bit on the control panel, you can see on the display the speed that is set, and you have of course the buttons, which are also from a European manufacturer, where you can open and close the vise, lift the cylinder, move the cylinder down, start the cut, stop the cut, and here you see if you have power or not, and of course obviously you have an emergency button. The big button is used for the downfeed.